Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sideline Report. I'm Marvin Jackson. I'm along with Lou Holder and Donna Hopkins, as usual. But we have some special guests. And they're all the way from Delaware State University. And one of them's very familiar to Washington football fans. And that is Clinton Portis. CP is joining us. He's the running back coach up at Delaware State. And we've got Nemo Washington, the offensive coordinator with Delaware State. And Nemo is from Prince George's County. So he's one of our native sons from Prince George's and went to Bowie State. And these guys are doing a great job up there with Deshaun Jackson, the head coach at Delaware State. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it.
All right.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Let's get started we'll start off by talking about that big Monday night game. Washington and the Bears, and those turnovers really hurt the team. 3 big turnovers, especially the one at the end by Jaden.
Yeah, I mean, you can't turn the ball over 3 times like that. Again, I don't care what the weather is. You have a home contest, which is a precious commodity in the NFL. You had a crowd that was ruckus. And you knew it was going to be a very, very spirited contest. But yeah, a lot of plays, a lot of great plays, like Kinlaw blocking that field goal, and all those erased by 3 turnovers. And, that's the deal. But I do feel that they have the leadership in the room. You got to compartmentalize that and move on. You got to move on. So they missed one at home, but now they got to go on the road next couple of weeks and take care of business, because this NFC East is all coming right back to them. Philly's not running away. Dallas isn't running away. New York, so it's there for them in the division. So you got to really have a short memory. But again, those turnovers, you cannot turn the ball over 3 times in the NFL and win football games.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody should take ownership for that loss, not just Jaden, but this whole team, because they got out the block slow. They did not execute. They did not tackle on defense. To me, they held them in the beginning as far as with the field goals. But when you come down and you have to stop players and stop a team, the defense did not do that. And I know Jaden is taking ownership for his part, but everybody has to take ownership for their part, because everybody plays. They missed the field goal, because if you make that field goal, you could possibly win. But it's the way this team is playing right now. They're on a roller coaster. One week they're playing like this, the next week. But one thing they're consistent is these slow starts. And you cannot have slow starts when you got the Cowboys coming up who can put points on the board. They may not be able to stop anybody on defense, but they can surely put some points on the board. So this Commanders team has to get on the same page, as Coach Quinn talked about in his presser, is that they have to learn how to play complementary ball, not just 1 week, and they haven't been able to do it 1 week really. But that's the key thing to me when you look at this team, is they have to get over the hump in these mistakes that they're making over and over again. It'd be one thing if they were making a mistake and then they clean it up, but they make the mistake and go back and make the same mistakes over again.
Jaden, like you said, he owned up to that mishap at the end. Zach Ertz said, though, that without Jaden, they wouldn't have even been in the game. So he was saying, we still, it's all on the team, because without Jaden, they wouldn't be the team that they are. And I want to get these 2 great offensive minds from Delaware State to talk about that and talk about what they see in Jaden and this Washington offense.
Honestly, I think Jaden, he has all the tools. I remember I was in Cleveland last year. The one thing that stood out to me was his poise and his confidence. There was a play last year when he got hit by Myles Garrett. He got blasted, but he got up and he was able to just take that hit and was still able to deliver passes across the field. So I think they'll be all right. Overall, I do think, though, Donna just said it just from when I look at the Commanders, one moment I think they're a top 5 team, one week the next, and I think they're a bottom 5 team. I think just the consistency across the board that you want to see probably overall if you're a Commanders fan. I think Jaden will be fine, though. He's still trying to get the rust off coming from that injury. I know he said he's fine. He's dealing with that knee brace. He doesn't want to play with it. But you can say there's something a little off. Obviously, I'm not in the building or I can't tell, but just watching it, it doesn't seem like the same team, last year. They do got some juice. Like Debo's been a surprise to me, seeing how he has stepped up, when he gets the ball in his hand. He brings juice to that offense. But it's just something, maybe it's the defense or something. Because I remember last year when I saw that defense, it was ferocious, like with Luvu and those boys. And I'm like, man, I was telling CP, I remember watching, like, there's certain teams, NFL, everyone's big. When you look at the Commanders, they got size and speed, but it doesn't jump off with the same, tenacity when I watch those guys, But I think from a quarterback standpoint, you have nothing to worry about. I think that guy is going to be fine. I seen something on ESPN today. They're like, hey, comparing it to the CJ Stroud thing in Houston. I think it's far from that because he doesn't really turn the ball over. I think last night was an anomaly, and I don't think it's going to happen again. Now, obviously, you can't do that against Dallas because, in my opinion, it's going to sound crazy. I think Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in that division, and by far, especially so far how he's been playing. So I think Jaden will be fine. I don't see the Commanders bouncing back. I do.
CP, what do you have to say about this Washington team and Jaden Daniels?
I think the difference is you look at it, we kind of interrupted our own flow, with the holdout with Terry McLaurin. I take it back to the offseason. The holdout with Terry McLaurin is normally always the case that the player end up injured or dealing with something after he comes back. So we see this. You're missing Terry, trying to find out who's going to be your go-to guy without him. That's the complication. So you come into the game, it's kind of like, which direction are we going to go? Are we going to run the ball? Are we going to drop it down to Ertz? Are we going to, trick plays with Debo just to get the ball in his hand? And then you look on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think you're flying around with that same anger that you had last year either. So you got a lot of new guys coming together. I think the season is still in front of you. Jaden will be fine. He's just got to go out and play ball. The conditions last night, none of us said it. I was waiting, like, oh, I know Nemo going to talk about the weather. So that weather you always got to prepare for because turnovers are normal. When you get that misty rain or that rain, the ball going to fly around. And that was one of the situations last night. So I definitely think they recover. I think it's just more of finding an identity and who are we going to lean on? Who are we going to go through? Last year, you knew everything was going through Jake. You knew it was going through him. The game was going to be placed on him. And I think with him coming back from injury, like Nemo said, he's getting healthy, getting the rust off, getting used to playing with a brace, and he still hasn't returned to that dominance, which it's on the way. And when you talk about the other teams in the NFC East, I remember draft day, they kind of was talking about the trade at the end of the first round, and I suggested that we go out and get a running back by the name of Scatterboo. And everybody looked like, nah, I don't think so. No, like you're off. Okay, that same guy is going to come back to hurt the NFCs. Scatterboo and Dart, I think they're going to do something special up in New York. So just watching those guys not having Malik Neighbors, dealing with everything they've been dealing with and the swag and confidence that they're playing with, those guys are beginning to roll, and I think they're going to have something special too.
While we got you, though, what do you think about Daniel Jones and what he's doing at Indy?
I love it. My best friend is actually an agent. So to see Daniel Jones or to know that from the inside out, and then to see Daniel Jones come out and deliver the way that he's delivering is like, obviously there's nothing you could say because they're playing good ball. I definitely think he kept the head coach's job and the team is rolling. So it kind of looked like, hey man, ain't got to step it up. So it's one of those situations. Daniel got put in a situation where he got another opportunity and he's taking advantage of it up to this point.
Nemo, does that happen often where players go from one program, even in college or in the NFL, to another, and they just seem to click with different offensive coordinator or whatever?
Yes, sir. I mean, I think CP could probably speak to it the most. I mean, it's about the system sometimes. Like, I mean, look at Baker Mayfield. Everyone wrote him off, and what now? Look at him in Tampa. Sometimes it's about when you get the right system, right environment, when you get people that truly believe in you, it does something to your confidence. And football, half the battle, and CP, correct me if I'm wrong, 85 to 95% of it is about the confidence you have in yourself and the people around you. If you believe in them and they believe in you, then you add in the scheme, the system that fits you, that curtails to your talent. And that's what happens, honestly, in college, where you have to find out, hey, a quarterback may look bad in this system, but you put him in another system, now all of a sudden you found a gem. Daniel Jones looked bad in one system. Not saying there's nothing wrong with going to New York, because obviously Jackson Dark fits that system. But you see when Daniel Jones is in a system that curtails around him with a strong running game, but obviously you got a team that believes in him as well. That does something tremendously for a person's confidence.
Hey, Marvin, can I ask them a quick question? Since we're talking about the NFC East, up in Philadelphia, they seem to be in disarray with that team. A.J. Brown is at it again. Devontae Smith, he was in a meeting with Jalen Hurts. All of them were in a meeting, and it seems like it's inner squad fighting right now because everybody wants the ball and they're not getting enough touches. How do you see that Philadelphia team? And I want both of you all to answer this. How do you see this Philadelphia team and what's going on there? Because you know that when you have a locker room that's divided like it is right now, it creates those bad apples end up being rotten.
Well, I think what you see within that locker room is you have so many guys that's competing to be the man. And when you look at a kid like Jalen Hurts, who he's a quarterback, so he's definitely going to be the guy. And then you have a disgruntled receiver and A.J. Brown. You got a guy, Devontae Smith, who should be getting more, that never says anything. And then you look at the backfield, and you're talking about the offensive MVP and Saquon, who's coming out of the game with 7 to 10 carries, which should never happen. So you have a bunch of guys that's kind of all kind of dominant and believe they should be the face of that organization or wants to be the face of that organization, but you're 4-0 and you're still bickering. Like, winning kind of cures all for everybody. Now that you're on a 2-game losing streak, it's like a big issue. Everybody is in your business or paying attention to what's going on, and people are going to start pointing fingers because you were 4-0 and this was in-house. And then all of a sudden, the spat happened. You know, A.J. Brown kind of voicing his opinion to get the ball more. I think they tried to force it to him more, and then that game, you should have been running the ball. You should have ran the time off the clock. You're 5-0. Instead, you go to 4-1, and then it carried over another week. So, you know, I don't think the defense is living up to the hype that they had coming into the season. We expected that defense to be dominant. You lost a lot of pieces on the defensive side of the ball, losing Slay, losing C.J. Gardner. You lost a lot, you know, and everybody kind of knew their role and played their role. You won the Super Bowl with those guys, and then you kind of disperse or disband the team, and all of a sudden you're going to have this.
I think CP just said it. There's an identity crisis right now. I think last year it was clear who it was going to, and when you're winning, it cured the situations that were going on. Because A.J. Brown was still disgruntled last year a little bit, but he read a book because he's like, hey, we're winning. You know, there's nothing, there's nothing I can say. And then, but he kind of said it after the Super Bowl. He like, hey, I just realized football for me is fun when I'm dominating a man. And see, I don't know if you remember, I predicted something. I said, hey, I said this in the beginning of the year. I said, about week 7, A.J. Brown gonna be traded. Remember I said that?
Yep, on the sideline. You said he was going to be disgruntled and he was going to be.
I said this in training camp.
Clint, you mentioned something really interesting, and you can speak on this. And again, it's about the running back position in the NFL. I know when you were here, you were getting a lot of touches, and the running back position was highly coveted. I mean, Saquon made it sexy again to have a good running game. But when you look at this Washington Commanders running game, Bill in particular, and then as a whole macro, the whole running back movement, both Nemo and Clinton, because it's on the offensive side of the ball. How important still is the running backs to an office, and what is to an offense? And what's your thoughts on Bill, who's basically taking this whole league by storm with his play?
Well, I think, I'm biased in this question. So I think the running back position was once probably the most important position, especially in my era. When you look, teams weren't throwing the ball 40 or 50 times a game. It was you were running the ball that amount of time. So wherever you get an opportunity to go and get the shine, whether you're running or passing, it's just everybody started to believe they had a top quarterback in the league, kind of got rid of fullbacks and tight end became a hybrid situation. So you were spreading them out. It was like a mismatch. So, but we saw every team last year that was in the playoffs that made a run had a running back. So when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, you talk Mahomes all the time, but if that running back position isn't doing anything, Mahomes don't hold it down. In those months, those dreary months, November, December, January, with football, hey, the conditions really come into play. So if you look at Buffalo, you look at the Ravens, you look at how these teams are built. Now it's just one of those situations. You have so many people that you're throwing together, and it's so much change, and you're disrupting and removing pieces that should be kept around. I think more people are realizing the business of football. It happened to me late in my career where I started to realize, like, hey, man, everybody is replaceable. But when you start having, just to go to our team, the Commanders, when you start having guys like Terry who's done everything the right way, and you end up causing this to be an issue within the locker room, or an issue as a holdout, or people to flip sides on him, or people to start poking at him. And then this guy has done it the right way, as you would, that's the type of person you want to have as a face of your team. And then you get a new toy, that comes in, and Jaden played great and he deserves everything he's getting. But why interfere with that? Why interfere with that bond? Let them grow together, let them ride off into the sunset, however. But I think we kind of got in our own way over the offseason. So when you look at Bill, man, I think for him, everything he went through in college, coming in and now kind of taking the league by surprise, just stay at it. Don't. It's early in the season. It's going to be a long year. Stuff going to fall into place. Things are going to happen. You just got to get the locker room back focused, back locked in, and the common goal amongst everybody got to be W's, not stats, not you getting paid, not free agency. It got to be, hey, y'all just win the game, and that's the big issue, getting a W on the board.
All right, we're going to change directions a little bit, and we're going to talk about the upcoming Washington-Dallas game. Big rivalry for years. Not sure if it's as big now. We're going to talk about that, and then later we'll talk about the Delaware State upcoming schedule and all the things that you guys are doing up there. So we only have a few minutes, but let's talk about what everybody thinks about the upcoming Dallas and Washington game will turn out to be, and who you guys think might pull that game out. Everybody maybe take a minute.
It's going to be interesting. I think Nemo hit it when he said, I hate for him to say that, but Dak Prescott is playing really the best right now of everybody. He came back from that injury and he's been on fire. CeeDee Lamb hasn't been in the lineup, but Pickens has, and that offense is rolling. Like I said, they can't stop anybody on defense, but they can score a lot of points. They seem like they got that running game in place. And for the Commanders to even compete with them, they're going to have to be on point in all aspects of the game, especially quick starts, and something they haven't did in a long time. But right now, Dallas is clicking on offense.
Yeah, they can't turn the ball over. I mean, obviously, it's an division game. I mean, the losses that they've had have been in the conference, but, division, you got to take care of the division. And so this game coming up is big. And Washington, needs to find out, or is quickly finding out, that every game is going to be important. I know what Dallas looks like and they can't stop anybody, but you know what happens when you hear that you can't stop nobody? The game that they play against the Commanders, they're going to be able to stop somebody. It always turns out Murphy's Law like that. So Dan Quinn and their game plan is like, look, they got to treat Dallas with very kid gloves. They got to treat them with kid gloves.
For me, I think you can't make it any bigger. I don't think it has the luster that it used to have when you say, "Oh, the Cowboys and Commanders are playing this week." It's,
You want to
It's
fight.
the way
You
he
want to
said
be
it.
like Dexter Manley.
It's the way he just said that. It's the way he just said that.
it's hard, but so I
Hey,
just
Clinton,
say,
you getting me riled up right now because I despise of Dallas.
hey, it's
But
just
the
one
way
of
he said
those.
Commanders, Donna,
Commanders.
I don't think it's personal with these guys. Like with us, it was personal. You found a way. I still remember Sean walking out, talking to T.O. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know who to help. T.O., what's up, CP, man? What's going, man, I'm going to get Dap and Sean, hey man, so that's it. That's the Cowboys Redskins rivalry that I'm used to. But now I just think it's one of those, you got to go out and attack. I think Pickens is doing an outstanding job. I really don't see us. It's like when you look defensively, how are we going to stop Pickens? What can hurt us? How are we going to stop it? Because we're going to sell out to take Williams out of the game, which we're supposed to. Pickens is going to be an issue. And if Dak is hot and he finds Pickens, that's a quick 7. And then for us, we got to play ball control because we don't want to be in a shootout. We got to play ball control and keep them off the field so they don't get in rhythm. So this is one of those, it's week in, week out. Hopefully we'll come out and find a way. We'll get some turnovers, create some turnovers, get some stops early in the game, and be able to ride the momentum. But you can't allow them to jump out and we're playing from behind it and get one-dimensional. That's where you say this defense can't stop anyone. Well, they can when they know what's going on. So if you're in second and long, third and long, hard to get, hard to pick up first downs, then you have an issue.
All right, we're going to talk about Delaware State now because we only have a few minutes left, and I wanted to say a little more about Del State, but Clinton and Nemo, you guys have an offense that's scored 70 points last week. You also had about 580 yards on the ground, 3 running backs over 100 yards each. That's got to be you guys, right? And what do you think how do you think you can continue that? Because you got a big game against North Carolina Central this week. And then you've got the big game against Michael Vick's Norfolk State team the following week, I believe, in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial.
I'm gonna start it out, so I'll be quick and I'll let Nemo
Okay.
have the big end. It's kind of like Nemo look at me like big bro. He's like, man, you like my big bro, right? So I have to threaten him. You better give us this ball, or it's gonna be on. You know what time? you know what time it is. But no, man, Nemo dials it up, man, and we just get an opportunity to respond. So I'm gonna let him kind of talk about that because he's doing a great job in putting us in great situations, putting us in mismatches or disadvantages, exploiting the other team. So I'll pass it over to him.
I mean, well, honestly, we got a great staff, and then actually we ran for 609 yards, which was a school record. And
Wow.
we
But
had
who's
700.
counting? Who's
Who's
counting?
counting? I heard 585. I was I was a little more than that, but I think it's a credit to just we had great staff, great players. Like when CP got the job and I got a job, I told Jack, and I remember the 3 of us met I said, hey, my identity, I said, Jack, I know you're a receiver. We're gonna run the ball. So I hope you're okay with that. And everyone talks about what we did last week, but we haven't had a game where we ran less than 200 yards. And that's just something that we demand. Like that's our mentality. We believe we have 5 backs that can start anywhere. We have a quarterback who's dynamic, and my player, I'm not gonna say the best quarterback in the country, but he's probably one of the best football players in the country to go along with our backs and our O-line who do a great job. And then we have receivers that can, win one-on-one, especially a guy named Nathan Stewart, who's a guy from Maryland. So We've been doing it since week one. It wasn't just homecoming. It's just now people are starting to see it. And I think the best thing we do, we take it 1 week at a time. And it's no offense to Mike Vick and them. We're not thinking about them right now. We got North Carolina Central and we ready to roll.
Tell us how those running backs relate to Clinton.
I got to say this before he goes. This kid named James Jones, who's hilarious. He reminds me of Clinton from the personality standpoint. And I know he gives people a headache, but he's special. Gilly, probably from a play style, he wasn't as fast as CP, and I let CP go. He has his like patience and like the quick jump cuts and stuff like that, but don't have the speed that CP got. But he got a lot of guys in the room. I'll let you go. That's your room, so you talk about it.
Man, again, just as a room, buying in and getting an understanding that we're going to have an opportunity to affect the game, and kind of everything being placed on our room. I always tell the room on the board, we are the engine, the team goes as we go. And for my backs, they kind of take that challenge personally. Gillis, Jones, Jenkins, Boykin, Alex Perry. I got a young kid named Deuce Weston that's going to be a real problem in a few years. So just keep an eye out for him. But the biggest thing is I think they're starting to play as a team, as a group. We are playing selfless football. And the moment that you begin that, everybody kind of get their shine on. In the beginning of the season, we were having hiccups kind of in our own way. But now I think they understand, man, you know what? We win together, and it's starting to flourish. I think it's starting to come together, and then everyone else on the team is feeling that energy, and it kind of becomes contagious. So that's what allowed us to go out and put up 70. And the mentality of Nemo, the quick strike, the let's get it done, and let's win. Let's keep our foot on their necks. Like that, those messages is what's getting it done for us as a team.
Well,
wow, Clint, you sounded like a coach. Listen, Clint, he got music to my ear. I said, is Clint talking, coach? Look at that
is
lady.
Amazing. Yeah.
Portis.
But I mean, I could always see that though.
The player now coach.
He was a coach when he was here.
Exactly, but he's got the swagger with the language now. I was like, I'm sitting back here cheesing.
Yeah. He talking. Listen, he talking drumline type of one band, one sound.
Hey, Clinton, Nemo, are you guys playing at Howard, or is that
Howard come to us?
They come to you guys. So no more games in this area.
Morgan.
Okay. So
You go to Morgan.
Oh, you go to Morgan. So everybody
Friday
get
night
up there
on
to see
ESPN.
him at Morgan. What's that date? I think I have
Delaware
it.
State only 2 hours away. You got a full tank of
Okay.
gas right now, baby. Make
November 7th. Yeah. So yeah, everybody get out and support these guys. Them along with Coach Jackson, they're building something special, and it's exciting. I think it's very exciting. Along with even with Coach Vick down at Norfolk State. I mean, that should be interesting for you, Clinton, when you go down.
Donna, let's go, Donna.
Hey,
Donna, let's go.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
I need to get my pom-poms out.
Let's go.
And come up
Let's
there
go.
and be rocking.
Let's go, Hornets. Let's go.
We need it. We need all the support we can get, man.
Hey,
Show up.
Clinton,
We
if
gonna
I
show
come to
up.
that game, you're going to hear me too.
Hey, that's what we need. That's what we need. But I'll tune you out like I have on the headset. And I was telling Nemo this, like when on Saturdays, man, I'm so zoned out. I don't even really be knowing what's going on just because we're so focused as a group. And I try to keep, I'm managing 6 personalities and 6 attitudes and, 6 guys that feel like they're dogs and deserve the shot. So I don't even be sitting. We got in after the game. I was like, man, we missed a field goal. It was like, Coach, where were you? I was like, man, I didn't know we missed a field goal. So yeah, it's kind of one of those I zone out during the game and just lock in, trying to make sure we get things done.
All right, go Hornets and go Commanders, right?
Yes, sir.
Look,
Redskins.
Clinton doesn't want to hear that Commanders.
Commanders, no, I don't have a problem with the Commanders. It's just hard when you say the rivalry.
All right. Well, thanks so much to Nemo Washington, offensive coordinator with Delaware State, and running backs coach Clinton Portis, former Washington football running back and now doing some coaching. And always thanks to Lou Holder and Donna Hopkins. So for Sideline Report, I'm Marvin Jackson. We'll see you next time on the Sideline. Take care, everybody.